Hello everyone, you're very welcome to this space of ours at Narc Con, where we deal with all things in relation to experiences with narcissists in order to overcome the difficulties of those very toxic relationships and to evaluate and assess what's happened to us in order to protect ourselves, to survive and to thrive. That would be my main theme, to thrive, to use the experience going forward to improve our lives. So with that being said, one part of the healing and recovery and thriving journey is to understand and to, I suppose, balance out the very weird experience we would have had with the narcissist, where most people are left believing, because the narcissist needs you to believe their narrative and their manipulation of reality, that you're the crazy one and that you're to blame for the disintegration of the relationship, that you're a hopeless case. This is all projection, that you're a hopeless case, that you're crazy and that you are not fit to have a relationship with, which is all total tosh. So I'm going to go through just the facts, 9 reasons that the narcissist is crazy, and it's not you. It was never you. That doesn't mean that you don't introspect or take any accountability. That indeed would be narcissistic. But we need to get balance in order to go forward so that you're not left in the trauma-bonded trap of believing falsities about yourself. So this is about getting balance and perspective and looking at the narcissist in relation to the projection they put onto you as you being crazy. It's not you, it's the narcissist. So we're going to get into this, the 9 crazies of the narcissist, basically. Number 1, the narcissist, because of their need to control every situation and to not take accountability, because of their fake world and their fake mask, they keep doing the same thing over and over again in relationships and expecting a different result. Because they don't introspect or take any accountability for their part in the relationship, because of their superior ego that they must maintain, their fake ego that can't be at fault in any way, shape or form in order for it to maintain control, they never learn. So they can never develop themselves personally because they have to maintain this fake mask as a static, as a given, as a total truth, as never being in any way vulnerable. That's crazy. That's crazy because they expect the next relationship to be better, and it can't be because they're the common denominator. So that's the first crazy of the narcissist. It wasn't you. It just wasn't you. You wanted the relationship to work. You tried compromise. You tried indeed probably doing everything for the narcissist that they wanted. You tried to give the narcissist as much control as they seemed to want until it became untenable, until you became exhausted. Number 2, the narcissistic personality disorder is run on black and white thinking. Black and white thinking is essentially you're either right or you're wrong. So to the narcissist, if you're right, that means they're wrong. There is no grey area. Because if there was grey area for the narcissist without having 100% definite on either side, then they would be driven to introspect and find fault with themselves or evaluate you in a fair way and think, well, my goodness, I've had a relationship with Paula, and over the past, say, 3 years, I mean, she's done a lot of things for me. She's given me this. She's, looked after the kids. She's made plans. She's paid this. She's done, a lot of stuff for me. She supported me in my other, problems that were going on. You know the score. If a narcissist was to go into the grey area to evaluate a person, they wouldn't be leaving you. They wouldn't say you're all bad. It's just, that's crazy. And we're going to get on to that in another point. But if you think about it, they cannot evaluate anything fairly, because if they have a hint of somebody going against them, and what it means to go against a narcissist is not to agree with them 100%. That is a traitor. That is somebody who's not on their team. So now they will allow that in the beginning of the relationship because they are working on you, and it's a process to bring you under control. They're going to teach you. They're going to make allowances for you because of what they can get from you. But they will slowly be grounding you and grooming you into the type of person that they want you to be. And it's at that stage, when they've done the work on you, if you don't prove to them to be 100% compliant, then you go into the bad state. So you can't be okay. You're either bad or you're good. You're on the narcissist team or you're not on their team. There's no half in or half out. It's all or nothing with the narcissist, which is a crazy state of affairs because life doesn't work like that in any kind of a non-crazy way. The third reason that it's the narcissist that's crazy and not you is that they're not even there in reality a lot of the time. And this is becoming, I suppose, a favourite topic of mine because it's very untalked about, if that's the right way to put it. It's not discussed much. And I've seen it in live time, like in relationships with narcissists, where they're like inhabiting a different world. They're there, but they're not there. And tell me in the comments if you've experienced this. It's literally they're replaying a behaviour pattern from their past, from their childhood. And I call it looping. I don't know if anybody else has used that term, but that's a term I've come up with because their brain is looping and they're putting you in the position that they were in as a child. Anyway, I've linked another video in the last video I did, and it covers that particular dynamic. But if somebody isn't actually present, and instead of dealing with the relationship and the person that's ahead of them in reality, in real time, they're putting that person in the position that the narcissist was in the past, the child, and they're being the parent and telling you off. Using everyday circumstances in which to replay that emotional turmoil and that emotional rat wheel, literally is what they're on. They can't get off it. So that's crazy. I mean, that's like going into the old-fashioned lunatic asylum and having a conversation with someone or interacting with them for a day and getting punished, say, for doing a very small thing wrong, say putting a fork in the wrong place. And then they suddenly go into this vitriolic telling you off. I've told you not to do that before. And you're kind of going, what? Where did that come from? That came from the narcissist's past and their brain looping and looping and looping. So that's crazy. Number 4, well, a narcissist can't emotionally self-regulate. So while I feel sorry for that aspect of the narcissistic personality disorder, that's a bit crazy. So you're able to be on your own. Now, it's difficult after the narcissist because the narcissist has messed you up mentally. So this is why I'm making this podcast, to literally get you back on track the way I had to get back on track, the way anybody does when they've been with a narcissist in a close relationship. The narcissist is basically always needing people to regulate them emotionally because it's like they bat off somebody else in order to feel okay about themselves. They need to, and it's negative, it's not good. They need to put somebody else down so that they can feel good. Or they need you to be telling them they're brilliant so they can feel good. So it's all about, the computer isn't on unless somebody's using it, if you know what I mean. It's on static. The narcissist needs you to be inputting information into its computer in order for it to self-regulate emotionally. That's also why that, in a normal circumstance in a relationship, when people split up, they split up. They don't often get back together unless there's a genuine reason. They've spent time apart, they realize they missed each other. And this is when the narcissist can catch us out on. And there's a reflection and there's mediation and the people do get back together and have a happy relationship. But with narcissists, they always go back to various relationships at various different times in their lives and hoover people back into a relationship if they can, or try and extract something from them, even though they've left that person, declaring they'll never want to see that person again and they'll never go back. Now, that is crazy. That's not normal. So that's just another point along the whole list of things that you could say to a narcissist in relation to their behavior if you were so inclined. But for the purposes of health, wealth, and well-being, it's just great to recalibrate your brain and put the facts into your brain instead of blaming yourself and ruminating about what you could have done in the relationship to save it if you're at the stage where you've just been discarded. It's really important to do this. It's really important because you can get into a real downward spiral if you play into and accept the narcissist's crazy narrative. So we have 4 more here, I think, or 5. This is number 5. Narcissists operate on magical thinking because everything to them is magical. Their personality is magical. It's ever-changing. So they believe, because of their lack of evaluation or assessment skills, because if you have a black and white way of thinking and you have a personality disorder that predicates that every action you take supports that disordered personality, then if they think, or somebody presents to them an opportunity and tells them the opportunity is amazing, their evaluation of that opportunity is going to be either black or white. So they're not going to look, if they decide that they want to go for that, say, new business opportunity or whatever, their evaluation system isn't going to be good. They're going to harp on, oh, this suits me, I will make a lot of money out of this because I'm superior, there's no way this can fail, all of those kind of things. So they do take a lot of risks in relation to bad evaluation techniques. That is dangerous. That's crazy. That's risky. So to me, that's crazy. To me, that's not sensible. To me, that's not logical. That's impractical. That could get you into a variety of unfavorable situations. Yet they call you crazy. They also have to manipulate the narrative, because if you have a person who never believes they're wrong and always has to be right, if you prove in their face that, say, they were cheating and you call them out on that and you say therefore they're to blame for the end of the relationship, that's not acceptable to them. What they will say is, you made me do it. It's your fault. If you hadn't been this, that, or whatever, I wouldn't have needed to cheat. So the lack of accountability and superiority and magical thinking around those situations and their need to manipulate reality is crazy. And it's never going to achieve anything worthwhile. because they're going to keep doing things like that to bring their lives into a lower position and never be able to rise out of it. That's crazy. Number 6, and this is the most crazy. They try and control everything. They try and control people. They try and control every situation. They try and control time. And if they can't control all those things, they change the narrative, as we said in the last point. So anybody attempting to control everything, well, that's crazy. That's totally crazy. It's not possible. Yet they keep trying to do it because of their personality disorder and their sense of entitlement. Number 7, a narcissist has no solid identity because they didn't work on building into their personality the foundations of a personality that was going to be stable, that would try and develop itself, that had a moral compass, that had certain aspects to the personality that they liked and pursued. It could be kindness, it could be helping others, it could be creativity, it could be any number of things that they would identify with as a person. The narcissist, because they need to control everything outside them, because they can't take accountability, has to chop and change character traits, has to buy in character traits, has to do a lot of plagiarism when they need to change their mask to suit and control either another person or another situation. And plagiarism, copying, is huge with narcissists. Some of them will be creative, but the vast majority of them don't have that, I think, neural network in order to be original. So some of them are very, very good at taking somebody's original work, taking the good points out of it, and improving it because they are, say, good at speaking, or they have a charming personality, or have something that would appeal to people, which is the narcissist's main modus operandi, is to appeal to people, to bring people under their control. So they can plagiarize, they're fraudsters, they're con artists, thus the name for the channel, Narc Con. They can be very credible and believable up to a certain point until something happens and they can't deliver because they don't have that solidity or background to the personality they're presenting, or they don't have the wherewithal for the material they've copied and presented as their own. They don't quite get the narrative. They're presenting it per rota, basically. So they will get found out at some stage, but they can fool a lot of people a lot of the time. There are some very good narcissists out there who are going around copying everyone else's work and presenting it as their own, in a very authentic style. That's what I'd say. But that kind of stuff is crazy when they try and present something as of them and on their own, and their own creation, and it's not. It's a falsity. That's false, basically. That's fraudster. That's a con artist, and they call you crazy or me crazy for having an identity, basically. Number 8. Well, I find this one of the most crazy visual experiences, acoustic experiences, presentation that the narcissist will ever give you. And I must do another podcast on this. I think I did it years ago about the demonic rage of the narcissist. When it comes out of nowhere for a normal person, you say if something minor happens and the narcissist blows their casket, you can nearly see the volcano erupting out of their head. And it's all you. And you're kind of going, what? Who are you? And the person seems possessed. They don't seem to be inhabiting their body. The best analogy I think I can give you is when two dogs lose it and they're fighting each other, and you daren't put your hand in near that fight because they'd bite whatever's in front of their face. They've lost it, basically. All they're concentrated on is fighting the other animal in front of them. That's what I've seen in when dogs lose it. There's no recall, there's nothing. They're lost in the moment. When the narcissist is, standing over you, usually pointing, if they're not throwing something at you, pointing at you, telling you, you're this and you're that. And you're going, well, that doesn't even sound like me. So this is the narcissist spewing out whatever they've been told or they think about themselves, but they can't allow in internally. So if they are starting to feel shame or starting to feel, or somebody's told them that they're selfish or, whatever bad feeling is coming to them, they can't emotionally regulate that. So that has to be flipped on you. You, their sounding board. You have to take all of the bad stuff so that they can only receive the good stuff. So it's not their fault. They're not that. That's you. And that's total projection. But you see a narcissist losing it. The old eyes pop in and going black. And you're going, oh my God, this person is crazy. This person is crazy. But unfortunately, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you can, and you're a kind of a open to people having faults like you have faults. You try and overlook it. You try and explain it away and say the narcissist is stressed at work. Their ex is giving them a lot of trouble. Whatever you want to say, you will want to overcome it if the narcissist has been future faking you and they've given you a bit of love bombing, breadcrumbed you with a few dollops of hope for the future. Your mind may do its best to come up with excuses as to why they suddenly became demon possessed and had to go with you. In retrospect, you kind of go, I knew at that point there was something wrong with that person, and that's when I should have left. But a human being, I guess, tries in a lot of ways, particularly if you have a kind heart, a warm heart, you love the person and you have a lot of empathy, you will make excuses and try and help that person until it becomes so very obvious that you can't, and that there is something beyond your capability or anybody else's capability to help that person with. And again, I'll go into the spiritual element here. When they've been feeding the bad wolf for a lot of their lives, the bad wolf has them in its grip. There's a dark entity attached to that person, and they do not want your help. They only want your help in that they can gain something from you and manipulate it. And I think this is the last one, guys. Oh yeah, sorry, I was just going to, in relation to the crazy rages, what about the silent treatments? I mean, you're having a discussion and you don't know, but you've done something that has annoyed the narcissist. And you're trying to figure out, you're scratching your head thinking, well, they seem to be in very bad form. Is everything okay, darling? You don't seem in great, form. Is there anything I can do? You get some kind of a grunt, or they go out the door and they slam it and you're going, oh lordy, what the hell is going on here? And they won't talk to you maybe for a day, or they'll give you a mini discard. I mean, it's like the stomping off of a sulking child. And this person is an adult and they're calling you crazy. Now just listen to that for a minute. They refuse to talk to you, but they won't tell you what you've done wrong. Yet they believe that you're crazy. Just think about that for a minute. Okay, number 9. The last reason I have down for the total conclusion that the narcissist is, if you want to define the word crazy and what is crazy, I guess it's a narcissist. Because they bite the hand that feeds them. Who would do that? They leave good situations. They leave people that genuinely love them. They actually leave people who would be so loyal, and often are so loyal, that they give the narcissist everything they possibly can and have to the detriment of themselves. Yet the narcissist goes against that person, blames them, calls them names and walks away. Now, in the law of mathematics, would that not be a crazy thing to do? To then go out and not have your needs met. And oftentimes, in my experience, narcissists will leave a good relationship, will go off very confident, buoyed up. You know, they've gotten as many goodies as they can from you, and they're able to empower themselves by putting you down and calling you crazy, which is the whole point of this podcast. And off they go into the sunset, and they're sure they're going to succeed. I mean, they're sure there's somebody better than you out there. You know what the thing that they wipe off their shoe, that's who you become when they're putting you down and they're leaving you. And you're the crazy daisy. They're going off to find somebody who is, who's worthy of them, their brilliance and their wonderfulness. And they can't find somebody who is worthy of them. And they go through about 3 or 4 relationships in a year until they find somebody even that might half measure up to what they had with you. Dang, call that crazy, but I call that crazy. So I hope this podcast has been of help. Please, I know it's very difficult to re-regulate yourself after being with a narcissist because they have done so many different manipulations on you in so many different areas. And the next podcast I'm going to do is how to actually, I think it's about 9 things again I have written down on how to thrive after being with a narcissist. Things that you can do, practical things that will get you to the place of thriving instead of being in this awful hole they've tried to throw you down. We're not staying down there, guys. We're not staying down there after being with a crazy person. We're not going to take on all their issues and suffer all their issues and waste precious time in our lives by taking on a narcissist projection and destructive behaviour and vile behaviour and very dark, hateful behaviour. Please wipe it off you and look at the reality of the situation. Listen to as many podcasts as you need to listen to get that brain re-regulated and to get that narcissist out of your life.